Shalom, when the star of souls by giving no praise to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua, Bashem, Kadash. Double honors to the apostle, great Most High, and honors to brothers doing the work of the Most High in truth and in sincerity. Yahweh is the real name of whom the world ignorantly calls God, Jehovah, Yahweh. His real name is Yahweh. Son's true name is Yahushua, and when we pray Yahweh, Ba Hashem, Yahushua, meaning in, Ha meaning the, and Sham meaning names Yahweh and the name of Yahushua. Real quick, just wanted to touch on this word. I was which reasoning with one of the brothers, one of the Akim, right, and they use this word, and I was like, yeah, it's a beautiful word, and you see elements of Esau's hubris all over, right? Scriptures refer to him as the most proud. Scriptures, refer to him as a proud man. Just in general, and you can see in how he runs this world, how the people are, right? Because the people are so proud, right? But what does the scripture say because of that, right? Let me also load up this as well, right? This is Sirach 10 from the top. It says, a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell in, right? That's why you go through these, especially these major cities, right? You just see everyone is proud, right? Everyone, is all, within themselves, right? This is 2 Timothy 3, right? This note also that in the last days perilous times shall come, right? For men shall be lovers of their own selves, right? And that's what you see all the time, man. And it'll be funny because, you just be out and about and you just be observed, especially like these women, where they'll basically have one face, pull out their phone, pull like a face where like they're smiling and stuff like that, do a little pose with a smile, take a couple of pictures, and then just go back to being, dead again, right? But basically the systems, the Instagrams, the all of the social media has basically really pushed people to really be lovers of their own selves, right? Covetous, right? Because that's what happens, on this social media. It pushes that whole image of, this is what I got, and then what then does that make other people to do? They're like, well, I want some of that. Okay, it says boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, right? So one of the words there is proud. Okay, and that's certainly the nature of the ruler, right? The ruler of this world is proud as hell. Okay, it goes on to say, verse 3, Surah 10:3, an unwise king destroyeth his people, but the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited, right? Because it's a thing where you shouldn't be pushing all of this pride. He will put programs like MTV Cribs, will put programs like Buying Manhattan, Buying London, all of this sort of stuff where you're basically getting a glimpse into a world. I don't know that the elder, but one of the elders here, they touch on just like back in the day, if there were rich people, the rich people over there, you didn't know their life. You didn't have access to them, but with the world that he has set up, right, basically people have access to all of these, people doing significantly better than themselves, right? Women that are significantly more attractive than they're used to seeing, people from other parts of the world. It said all of that sort of stuff that in the old world you just didn't see, right? And what does it do? It breeds covetousness, okay? All right, so just linking up with that. But let's look into this word here, hubris, right? Hubris, right? Pride, insolence, outrage, right? Insolence, another good word, right? Rude and disrespectful behavior, because that's what you see as well. As I'll be speaking to my grandmother, and she'll be saying, she'll be like, oh yeah, I want to go to the shops, but I'm going to wait for the school kids to basically vacate the area, right? Because nowadays the school children are demons, right? Rude and disrespectful behavior, right? So it says hubris, right, or in another spelling, is extreme or excessive pride, right, or dangerous overconfidence and complacency, often in combination with or synonymous with arrogance. Oh man, and if this ain't this Edomite, man, right? Just pull it up real quick, because I was also watching what do you call it? I was also watching that thing on the Titan submersible, right? And the guy that basically uh, put it together. My man was proud as hell, right? Ocean Gate, that was it. Ocean Gate, right? Ocean Gate Titan, right? What was the name of this guy, man? Come on, you see this Edomite, man. What's this guy called? Salakia. Ocean, yeah, Stockton Rush, right? And what was very interesting about this particular character, right, was just this idea that he basically is connected. And that's the thing. You be seeing certain of these Edomites, you're just thinking that these are some any random guys, but he's connected to the point where I think it was saying like when you look back in his family line, right? From I think it said either from both sides of his family line, but from his maternal and paternal, right? He basically could trace back to people who signed the Declaration of Independence, right? You can watch that in that Netflix documentary, right? And this guy, that word hubris, right, very much, describe this man. You can see this, right? And you watch, hear the stories, would you call it, about him and stuff like that in the Netflix documentary. And it's like, yo, this was just a proud ass Edomite, man. Okay. But this is Esau in general, right? Is extreme or excessive pride. All right. Let's jump also to Ezekiel 38, Ezekiel 28, right? One of my favorites, right? This is the word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord power. Right, because thine heart in the modern day, because people well, it's talking scriptures can be manifold, right? Sometimes they're speaking about one particular thing, right? Other times they're speaking about several different things. Okay, Matthew 24, you get an example of that where it's like in some places it's like not just 70 AD, and then some places it's 70 AD and this this deliverance as well, right? For instance, the bit where it says woe unto you with child, right, that was 70 AD, right? Whereas other things were, like I said, I'm talking about, the deliverance to come, right? His Deuteronomy 28th chapter as well, right? Because then you get characters like Haman Maloney, right? Who basically he'll be like, oh no, but I was talking about X, but it's like not, right? But that's why, in fact, just go on a quick A side, right? That's why the scripture says this in Corinthians, right? So 1 Corinthians 2 and verse 11, right? It says, for what man knoweth the hang about. Yeah, first like verse 14, right? So it says, but the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of the Most High, for they are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them because they are spiritually discerned, right? Which makes me think of another one as well, and wipe the dust off of this one, right? 2 Corinthians 4 and 3, right? So, but if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, right? And that's why, for instance, the apostles say, look, man, if a ninja can't get it, we're moving on. All right, and that's just the what it is, right? Verse 4 says, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Mashiach, who's the image of the Most High, should shine unto them, right? Which also makes you think of first was Isaiah 6, right, about how the Lord has an angel basically blocking people from getting this truth, right? So when you get individuals saying that, no, it's just talking about the old Tyrus, it's like, no, but it's manifold, right? You can apply it today, right? So Ezekiel 28 and 2 says, Son of man, sent to the prince of Tyrus, which the modern day prince of Tyrus is this Edomite. Okay, it says, thus saith the Lord power, because thine heart is lifted up, right? And that there should be proof enough, because this Edomite is proud as hell, right? This Edomite is that's it. He's proud as hell, man. Right? You see what he says, what he does, and it's just like, I mean, man, he's in a position where he's created a world where a man can go get his plumbing redone, and then start calling himself a woman. And when you look into the technology, right, he made the mistake years ago even, so the technology is probably even better now. But when you look into the technology, right, you know, you can block your ears if you don't want to hear what I'm about to say, right? But basically, like, you know how as a man, you know, you get aroused or whatever, what have you, right? You get a little bit of, you know, pre-cum just to, prepare the way, right? Because which is alkaline, right? Showing you the power of the Lord, because that's alkaline, whereas, you know, the woman's, what you call it, thing is slightly acidic, right? So that's that. But basically what Esau did, right, is he basically created a system where he will use that same pre-com, if you will, to basically make it seem like that fake, the fake, you know, vagina that he's created is getting wet, right? This is the man that we're dealing with. That is disgusting. It's like, why would you even think about doing that, right? It makes me think also of this precept, right? This is Habakkuk, right? 2:4. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, right? And this first bit's talking about this Edomite. Esau ain't right, right? For you to think so proudly against the Most High, right? Your spirit ain't right, right? And that's why it's going to be so beautiful when you get brought down. Right? In fact, we can grab that. This is Proverbs 16:18. It says, "A pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." Right. So that's why, as apostles, elders have been saying, it's beautiful that the Lord has basically got Trump in power to push that pride in these Edomites, right? To push that pride in these Edomites, you know, to basically get them in that proud Edomite state before, before this man's kingdom is done. Okay. So it's just beautiful to see what's happening, right? Proverbs 18:12 says, before destruction, right, the heart of man is haughty, and before honor is humility, right? So once again, it's beautiful seeing this Edomite in the spirit that he's in at the moment, right? It's beautiful to see that. So yeah, let's carry on. Did I finish this, right? And then Ezekiel 28. So let me see. So Ezekiel 28:2. Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord power, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a god. Esau was acting as the most high, right? Once again, that's why he's, basically pushing this narrative that the Most High can make mistakes, right? You can have someone that is born a man, but they feel like a woman because the Most High made a mistake. That's ultimately what he's saying, right? It says, I sit in the seat of the Most High in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man and not God, right? Though thou set thine heart as the heart of God, right? And it's like, if you were to pick any group of people who this applied to today, it's the Edomites, okay? So that's it, right? So was there anything else in here? Or was it just often in combination or synonymous with arrogance, right? That's why once again you see what some of the things that Esau is doing, right, in the world, right? So Jeremiah 50, right, and 31 says, behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud, saith the Lord power of hosts, for thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee, and the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up, and I'll kindle a fire in the cities, and it shall devour all round about him. Okay, and that's it, man, because there is a recompense, right, for for everything that Esau's been doing, for all of his pride. This is James 4:6. But he giveth more grace, wherefore he said, the Most High resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. Right, so Most High, resist the proud, right? And I'm gonna just end with this. Is Sirach, these two, right? Sirach 10 and 9 first, right? It says, why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man, for such as one setteth his own soul to sell, because while he liveth he casteth away his bowels. Right, verse 18, it says, pride was not made for men, no furious anger for them that are born of women. So that's it. Pride was not made for men, right? And the hubris, right, that Esau has, shall be humbled. In fact, I'll end with this one, right? Isaiah 2:11. It says, the lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down. Right? Let's look up this word, bowed. Shakak, right? It says to sink or depress, right? Down, couch, humble self, low, stoop. Basically, should be a broad low, to prostrate, right? Every makes you think of the scriptures. In fact, let's grab that, right? Right, this is Isaiah 45 and 23, quoted in Romans 14 and 11. Right, it says, I have sworn by myself, the sword is gone out of my mouth, and righteousness shall not return, that unto me every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess. Right, because that was one of the words that we saw there, right? To prostrate, right, which basically means to lying stretched out on the ground with one's face downwards, right? So that's a proper bow. Okay. So it says Isaiah 2:11 says, the lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and the Lord Yahweh alone shall be exalted in that day. All right, so only Yahweh is going to be exalted in that day, right? Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And that's one of the things that we're looking forward to, right? Take this Edomite, out of, the power seat that he's in, right, and to bring about righteousness, right? So as always, Lord, that was edifying. To the next time we say shalom.